I was 6 months into my year-long stay in Japan as an English teacher, and I was invincible. Everything that came towards me was an obstacle, but I managed to conquer all of them on the first try. I had to go to 25 schools, and I was getting really good at being an English teacher. I was proficient in Japanese, and I lived in Hokkaido, which was the northernmost island in Japan, and we had winter from October to April with snow up to your knees, and I was doing okay with that too. I would go to these schools. I would have to travel to 25 schools by walking there, taking a bus, and taking a train. Sometimes just walking, sometimes just taking a bus, sometimes taking a train, or all three, a combination thereof. I was a walking cliche grandma. I literally walked miles through the snow to get to schools, up to the snow, up to my knees. So everything was okay, and I would get to all of the schools on time. I had memorized the kanji characters for the bus stops that I had to get off at, and the schools that I had to go to, and I carried around this ginormous tote bag that was filled to the brim with amazing English lessons, and huge posters of pictures about my life in America, and I had rice balls from the 7-Eleven, and on the very top of my tote bag I had my indoor school shoes. Because in Japan, you had to take your outdoor shoes off and put on new indoor shoes when you went into a school. And because I was a traveling teacher, always the principals offered me the guest slippers, which were this brown 1970s looking plastic slipper that was always a size 6, and I am a size 9, and I did not want to bind my feet. So I brought my black slip-on shoes in my bag. So yes, for 6 months, I was unstoppable. I achieved every obstacle that came my way. But on 6 months and 1 day, I had to go to my 26th school. And it was January, so it was a little bit strange that I had to go to a new school in January. But luckily, it was in the same town as another school that I went to. And now, these are small towns. These are towns, again, that I had to take very interesting public transportation routes to get there, and they were so small that they weren't on maps of Japan. And if I happened to walk by one of these snowdrifts in one of these towns and it happened to fall on me, no one would know that I was there until spring when everything thawed out. But I knew how to get to this one town. I got to take the train that had the heated seats, so it was kind of a challenge to stay awake while on the train. And then when I got off the train, I had 4 minutes to cross the street and wait at a bus stop before the rainbow-colored bus came there to take me to the school. And, you know, I knew exactly where I was going, and so in that 4 minutes, if I was lucky, I could stop at the vending machine and get a hot can of coffee to take with me while I waited for the bus. So I did that on the morning that I went to the 26th school. And yes, it was snowing hard, but in Japan there are 200 little old Japanese ladies shoveling train tracks and shoveling roadways, so trains and buses are never late. If they are like 30 seconds late, they will apologize profusely, nothing like SEPTA. And so I had my hot can of coffee, and I'm waiting at the bus stop, and 4 minutes goes by, and 6 minutes goes by, and there's no rainbow-colored bus. And I'm like, all right, well, it's snowing really hard. Let's give them 1 day in Japan to be late. And then 8 minutes goes by, and this rainbow-colored bus comes up. Great, I still have enough time to get to the school. I'm sitting on the bus. The people don't really look familiar. There's less people than normal. As the bus continues to drive down the road, the kanji characters for the bus stops do not look familiar or sound familiar as the bus driver is saying them out loud. And through the thick snow, even the scenery does not look familiar. And then the bus comes to a stop, and the 2 remaining passengers get off. And it's me and the bus driver, all the way at the far end of a snow-covered rice field. I am nowhere near this school. And so I run up to the bus driver, and I use my best Japanglish, and I explain my situation, and he understood Japanglish, so he radioed to my bus, the bus that I needed to take. And in his Japanglish, he explained to me that I had 4 minutes to get across this rice field to get on the correct bus. So I ran in 4 minutes across a snow-covered rice field with snow up to my knees, and I made it onto that bus. And the bus took me to the school, and the principal met me at the front door and offered me the indoor guest school slippers. And I said, no, I have my own. And I opened my bag, and I looked inside, and my indoor school shoes are not there. But they were there on the train, and they were there on the first bus. So I'm happy to say that somewhere underneath a snow-covered rice field in Hokkaido, Japan, there lie my size 9 black indoor school shoes. So I took their brown plastic slippers and I went to class. Thank you.